All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. So, as this NFL season is in the midst of winding down, the Washington Commanders are clearly not where they were expecting to be at this point back in September. At 4-11, the Commanders are going to finish with their seventh losing season in the last 9 years. And it's probably a bigger pill to swallow this time around once you consider that Washington was in the NFC Championship game this past January. But injuries derailed this season before it even began. Most notably, the injuries, plural, that have been sustained by Commander starting quarterback Jayden Daniels. So, after earning the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year honors last year, Daniels was looking to build off of that strong campaign, but he has been unable to avoid the injury bug. You go back to week number two in the knee sprain that he suffered against the Green Bay Packers that kept him out of action for several weeks. And then it was the hamstring injury in October against the Dallas Cowboys. And then it was the dislocated elbow suffered last month against the Seattle Seahawks. And some people question that because that game was out of reach at the time for the Commanders. But nonetheless, those injuries, along with the fact that the Commanders are clearly out of playoff contention right now, resulted in the team telling their franchise quarterback to shut it down for the remainder of the season. You look at it like this: the Commanders, plain and simple, they have too much invested in Jayden Daniels, and they can ill afford. I know it's different ownership, but nonetheless, they can ill afford to have another RG3 type scenario on their hands. So going forward, getting Jayden Daniels healthy, and keeping him that way. They have to be at the top of the list for the Commanders this offseason, and clearly that is the way that it is right now. You got to keep him upright. So what does that mean? You got to keep building that offensive line in front of him. Last offseason, we saw Washington pick up veteran left tackle Laramie Tunzel from the Houston Texans. Should Washington look for themselves another offensive lineman early in the 2026 draft? Possibly, especially since they're going to be picking so early. You think about it. Washington, they continue to have one of the top ground games in the NFL, which should only be strengthened when Daniels does return. But you got to wonder if, with all of these injuries that we've seen going down, should they be a little bit more cautious with allowing Daniels to run? We got to wait and see. But also clearly the Commanders have to keep Terry McLaurin healthy. You think about Terry McLaurin, and been saying this for several years. I feel like I know that he has Pro Bowl accolades, but I still feel that he's underappreciated as far as what he brings to the table and his talent level. And if they can keep him healthy, because he's been dinged up as well, we're talking about one of the best receiver quarterback combos in the NFL from last season in Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. Will Dan Quinn continue to put the over the hill gang defense out there? I say this because, there's some veteran guys who are still making impacts, but the Commanders coming into this weekend were 31st in the NFL in yards allowed per game this season. And on top of that, they have had issues stopping opponents from running the football. That has to change. And the bottom line is, I truly do feel that Washington needs to get better in the trenches on both sides of the football, especially in this division, especially in this conference. So, with that said, you ask yourself, how far off are the Commanders from getting back into contention in the NFC? Well, again, like I said, it starts with keeping number five healthy. Jayden Daniels brings a certain level of energy to a team, meaning that, you know what, when he's on the field, everybody plays harder, offense, defense, and special teams, because it's just like with him, they're always a play away. And I think that's something that they want to get back to. You look at Daniels, he's 210 pounds, and you got to wonder, should Washington look to beef him up a little bit heading into next season to kind of absorb some of those blows that he's going to take in the National Football League or continue to take? We've got to wait and see. But again, like I said, it's all about keeping number five healthy. This is Washington's centerpiece. And of course, not having him out there, only having him out there for 7 games this season, kind of gives you an idea as to why the Commanders' record is what it currently is right now. I think it's going to be all hands on deck this offseason, continuing to build around Jayden Daniels, and I also think it's going to be all hands on deck as far as trying to keep number five healthy and get him back. I mean, think about it. I know he was a rookie, but when Jayden Daniels was at the top of the game or top of his game, he had the Commanders one game away from the Super Bowl. So that just gives you an idea of how special and the potential that this young man has at quarterback. So let's see what the offseason holds for Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. But I truly do feel it was the right decision for them to just shut him down for the remainder of the season. Too many injuries, too much at risk right there. And the bottom line is, at this point, we all know 2025 is a wash for the Commanders. Let's see how they all bounce back in 2026. But, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it is greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. And the same goes for Instagram, and you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, definitely check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I am concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.